David Hablewitz.
Who has a rebel yell? Let me hear it. There you go. One of my favorite rebels is Margaret Mead.
Oh, yes.
Margaret Mead's famous quote. Do you know it?
Yeah, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that's the only thing I had.
Thank you. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. For indeed, that's all who ever has. How many of you, let's think about for a moment, of a point in time where you had some experience that you knew you couldn't win? Traffic court against that ticket. Custody battle. Playing basketball one-on-one with Michael Jordan. Well, think about that. And if you were beside me as I stood before the House Transportation Committee, about to give a presentation against the tolls on 405, that's how you would have felt. I'm just a regular guy. A father, a brother, a business owner. I'm not even funny. Up against 5 experts who work for the state and have the word transportation in their title. Let's go back to the beginning. It was this October of last year. They had just turned on the tolls on Interstate 405. People were outraged. I was following the conversation on Twitter, and so many people were angry. One tweet jumped out at me, though. Someone said, "This is a travesty. Something must be done." Yeah. I replied, "Let's get together and do something about it." I don't know what, but let's. The next thing you know, 5 of us are sitting around a table at Starbucks strategizing about what we can do to get these tolls out of here. We put together a petition online, made a banner that we could hang over the highway, and in just 2 weeks we had 13,000 signatures. The next day I got a call from a House representative. "Hello, Mr. Hablewitz. My name is Representative Mark Harmsworth. I understand you have a petition with over 13,000 signatures. I'm going to draft a bill to eliminate those tolls." Over the next 3 months, I had interviews with newspapers. I was on radio talk shows. I was on the 6 o'clock news, which is why some of you keep saying, "I recognize you from somewhere, I just don't know where." And in the end, that got us in front of the House Transportation Committee. And as a result of that presentation, they made a change. Lots of changes, including eliminating the tolls at nights and on weekends. But we're not done. Our goal is to eliminate them completely and get legitimate changes in there that work. And understand that working with the legislature, well, they only make laws when they're in session. And the next session isn't until next January. But up to this point, there has been work that had to be done. And along the way, I have learned some keys, which I'll share. The first key that I've learned is about hurdles. Imagine yourself as a hurdler. You're a beginner hurdler. You're standing at the starting line and you're looking down that track and you see an army of hurdles just waiting to trip you up, knock you down, keep you from that finish line. But maybe you're a more advanced hurdler. You've been doing this a while. You look down that track and you just see that first hurdle and you're focused on that first hurdle. But if you're an Olympic hurdler, you're looking at that track and all you see is the finish line. and 10 tasks that you need to accomplish before you get there. The idea is these are not obstacles in your path. They're simply tasks that need to be done before you get to the finish line. Keep that in mind at all times. And don't let people tell you that something can't be done. A great example of this is the 4-minute mile. No one had ever broken the 4-minute mile for centuries. They thought it was physically impossible. Then along came a guy named Roger Bannister. He didn't know that you couldn't break the 4-minute mile. And in 1956, he did. Now what's amazing about this story is after he broke it, in the next 6 months, a dozen more people broke the 4-minute mile. So don't let anyone create barriers to you or tell you you can't do something. How do they know? It's never been done before. The second key that I learned was about accomplices. If you're going to change the world, it's better to have an accomplice working with you. Really. Think of it in this way. That accomplice is there to help you with the process, to support you, to believe in you even when nobody else does, including yourself, because there will be times where you doubt yourself. I mean, if this is a real process that you're going through, there will be times where that happens. It's kind of like building a card house. Try building a card house one card at a time. It didn't work too well. But if you lean 2 cards together, you can build a tower out of those cards. I have a team that works with me. It is not me, it is us. And I can tell you that team of 5 has been invaluable to this process. Not to mention the 32,000 people that signed the petition. The third key that I found is about commitment. Commitment to something you believe in. Because without commitment, you will not last long. And this is important because if you're doing something that's worthwhile, it's probably going to take a lot more than something you can do in a few minutes. In fact, commitment begins where the fun ends. When we first started this, and we're tweeting, and we're holding the banner over the highway, and we're getting signatures, even when I'm there in front of the House Transportation Committee giving a presentation. That was fun, that was exciting, that was energizing. But the legislature moves at a glacial pace. You got to know their best advantage is time. Because they know you'll wear out. You will. But if you have a commitment to what you believe in, they cannot beat that. Whoever your they is. From these 3 keys, you will find success in many things that you do, and you will realize there's nothing you can't do if you make that choice. Hurdles changed to tasks. Getting an accomplice and having a commitment to what you believe in. Now along the way, yes, we know, we changed the world. You felt that when you drive the highway. But this conference is about more than changing the world. And I've learned that if you're changing the world, you will end up changing yourself. And you will end up changing other worlds. I have become more confident in everything I do. I now believe in myself. I've actually sat down and spoke with legislators. They are now my friends. I've met with the House Transportation Committee chair. I've spoken with the Speaker of the House, with the head of the Department of Transportation, the new one. The one that got fired after what we did, of course, isn't around. I've even had a conversation with our governor. I've changed in a lot of ways that I can't even begin to measure or share, because it all starts from the inside. But then there are other worlds that have changed as well. Remember that team of 5? Every one of them, all of them, have changed. We have all changed in similar ways. I've changed legislators' minds. People are viewing things in a whole different way. But then there was a change that happened that I had never expected. 2 days ago, my daughter posted on Facebook. She shared an event that someone had posted. It was a march inviting students to march to show solidarity to minorities in peaceful marching. Now, looking through the comments that are on Facebook as the other students responded, I saw a lot were very supportive of her. But there were also some out there that were mean and were threatening. And to each of those, she wrote a comment in response. And she was respectful, yet assertive in her beliefs. And I read this. Where did she get this? And I realized she had been watching as we have our meetings, as I'm talking in the press. She sees my face on TV. She's learning. She is now working to change her world. And the impact of this will be that we have no idea. We cannot even begin to imagine how my 17-year-old daughter is going to change the world for all of us somewhere in the future. And that is the power of being a rebel. Remember those words that Margaret Mead said. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. For indeed, that's all it ever has. Let me ask you this question. What do you call a person who doesn't follow the crowd?
Rebel.
A rebel. So what do you call a rebel surrounded by a crowd?
A leader.
A leader. Why are you here today? This conference is all about being a rebel. It's about changing worlds. I'm looking forward next year to hearing from some of you, one of you, from this stage, telling us how you changed the world. Cheers.